Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Buzz on the MHRT network. As Spence falls over his chair, what a great job that was, man. This is a show that is everything Broncos and brought to you with emotion. Motion, passion, honesty, and of course, his comments, my comments, and your comments in the chat. We are Broncos Buzz. He is Kona Spence. I am your host, Bronco Bill. All right, guys, thanks so much for checking in tonight on a Friday. We're in the month of May. We're halfway through the month. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the opening of the NFL 2025 season. We'll get into all of that as we go along, guys. No doubt about it. Before we get into the show, Spence, how in heaven's name was your week, buddy?
You know what? Very stressful, full of chaos, running this way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. But now we've got our show, and I've got my beer, and I'm so relaxed, dude. Oh, I'm so
they say a dog is a man's best friend. I got a feeling it's Kona.
It's Kona.
I wonder if he goes to work with Kona. You know how you like take your dog, walk your dog in the park, take you.
Back to the show, and
anyways, let's just have fun. Just have fun, guys.
Yeah, you got to get your sip too. So, hey, everybody, happy May weekend. It's 5:00 somewhere in our area right now. Hopefully, you guys are having a great weekend. Thank you for being a part of the show.
Absolutely, guys. Feel free to jump in the chat. Come up with any comments you have. Keep it pertaining to the show per se, or not necessarily to the show, but the topics or whatever comes across your mind related to sports, that kind of thing. And we'll bring them up. We'll comment. Keep them clean. That's what we appreciate the most. And we will definitely get to your comments because, after all, if you're not participating, all we're doing is talking to each other. We can do that on the phone. We'd rather do it this way, guys. All right. Here we go. Let's start out with the extremely controversial topic. This is the topic, one of two topics. If you notice it says flowers and schedules. Flowers? Why would we be talking about flowers? Well, I'll get into that right after I get to the first person in the chat batting leadoff, David Yonkin. Always, buddy. Love it. Says, wow, it's Friday in Laos, and the schedule is possible to get 11-6 or 12-5. Wow. We will get into that for sure. But we're going to start off with the first part of the topics, which is flowers and schedules. First topic is flowers. Confused? Yeah, so was I, until I realized what Madungus was saying. Here we go. Major League Baseball commissioner has lifted the Hall of Fame ban on Pete Rose to be inducted. Also, shoeless JoJo Jackson is also lifted from the ban. I'm not going to talk about him per se because I'd rather talk about the one that I watched playing baseball for the Cincinnati Reds, and that was Pete Hustle, better known as Pete Rose, hence the reference to flowers. Pete Rose, in my opinion, and Spence, I'm not going to go on a 30-minute rampage because I could, but I'm going to bring you in on this. But I want to get one thing. What my biggest my biggest pet peeve about this whole thing is it was a vendetta, in my opinion, from not Roger Goodell. Come on, that's
Vincent.
Huh?
Wasn't it Ray Vincent?
Not Vincent. My nephew mentioned. I can't remember the commissioner prior to who the commissioner is now. Anyways, he had a vendetta against Pete Rose. He was the owner at the one time. He was the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers. What was his name? Look it up real quick because I want to get this right. If you can look it up. God, I wish Bobby was in there. Uh David Yonkins says you guys think a lot more baseball players cheated, but people had it out for Pete. I don't know why. I don't know why they had it out for him. I really don't. I mean, he played the game fairly. He didn't cheat. He didn't cheat like Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, Bobby Bonds or Barry Bonds, the son, whatever. Um, they weren't like that. Pete Rose played hard. He may have played dirty when he slid in an All-Star game or knocked over Ray Fosse in the All-Star game. Yeah, but he played the game the way the game rules were at the time. My point is this, Spence, and I'm going to go at Barry Bonds. Yeah, Barry Bonds was the one that cheated too. And I'm going to turn this over to you, Spence. My point is this. The Hall of Fame in any sport, is judged and merited on what you did as a player on the playing field. Now, sure, Pete Rose was a manager and he did gamble as a manager. That's not what he did to get honors into the Hall of Fame or credentials in the Hall of Fame. That should be separated. Now, if baseball wants to include the whole thing, then to me, that's wrong. Because Tommy Lasorda in baseball is in the Hall of Fame. And he played baseball, but he didn't merit the credentials to get in the Hall of Fame as a player, but he merited them as a manager. Pete Rose is the opposite. He merited it as a player on the field. Managerial stuff should not come into play. What do you think, Spence? I'll comment after that.
So I look at this way. Now, it was Bart Giamonte who banned Pete Rose.
Okay.
So I look at this. If you were involved in baseball, it encompasses every aspect of your baseball career. Playing, manager, leadership. Yeah, that's how I see it. Your actions in baseball reflect everything involving baseball. Pete Rose, the player, should be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, the manager, should never get a taste of the Hall of Fame.
Right. They're two separate entities.
But here's the thing. The Hall of Fame encompasses everything in baseball. And I'm going to tell you, I'm honestly torn right here because Pete Rose, the player, yeah, would love to put him in here. Pete Rose afterwards, who was a manager, a leader, a mentor, a teacher to these baseball players, basically did that to baseball and bet on it. What is the number one rule of baseball? The authenticity of the sport, and he gambled on it. Now, yes, he gambled for his team, gambled against his team, but you're in a position of power that could change or affect those wagers, and that does not encompass the integrity of the game. Honestly, if you put a gun to my head, said, Spencer, you have to select either way, I would say not into the Hall of Fame, just because he did not represent the sport during his career in the game of baseball the way you should be in the Hall of Fame. I feel bad for saying that, but the integrity and authentic, I can't even speak today. My kids have me going. Authenticity of the game.
No, it's not the Kona beer. Trust me.
It's not the Kona. The Kona beer is helping me. The authenticity of the game was violated by Pete Rose. And so because of that, I kind of support him not getting into the Hall of Fame. And I know you want him in there. I know his achievements, being the all-time hits leader. Great. But you got to have a clean record all the way through to be a part of the Hall of Fame. Now, Madungus.
So basically, you're saying a person getting the Hall of Fame has to be unblemished, perfect. There's nobody
not necessarily perfect, but you have to have the highest level of ethics with regards to the game. Say you go out and you get into a car accident and you kill someone accidentally. That's outside of life. The game.
Okay. Now you just brought up a very, very sensitive nerve. Boy, you know how to hit that one. You're getting good at this show.
I am getting
You're
good
getting
at
good. Now, you just hit a nerve. O.J. Simpson
yes.
in the Hall of Fame. Did stuff off the field. I know he was acquitted, guys. Don't throw barbs at me. But he was jury nullified. We all know that. Anyways, he should not be in the Hall of Fame. If you're saying what you do off the field doesn't count. And granted, Pete Rose was a manager. OJ wasn't. But murder, quote, I got it, guys. Okay. I'm just saying. He had his Heisman Trophy taken away.
He
right
had
after the Hall of Fame.
But what did O.J. Simpson do to hinder or hurt the game of football? You can't really say something. Life, yes, he did, and that's
okay. Then why did they take the Heisman Trophy away? That was football.
That was life. Wasn't exactly football, but you want to know something?
The Heisman Trophy
people,
life?
The Heisman Trophy people keep to a higher level of standards. Okay. Hall of Fame, that's the game itself. We could go back and forth on this, Bill, and you know what? Let's get another 24-pack. You want him in the Hall of Fame? I don't see him in the Hall of Fame. And
I don't see him in there, but I think what he did on the field to change baseball in that era deserves recognition. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I agree.
You know? And if they want to put an asterisk by it and say, hey, he's up here because of this, but we don't condone that, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with and that's we're going to get into a whole lot of this. What's wrong with expanding the horizon or expanding the parameters? What's wrong with expansion? Like I said, we'll get into that in some of these topics, but I see your point. I really do, because he was still on the field technically.
Yes.
But I don't, from the standpoint of what the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, stands for, and that is what you did on the field. There's a lot of football players we could say should not be in the Hall of Fame because of stuff they did off the field. See what I'm saying?
And you bring up a good topic. We'll say this, if you want to go to the chat, Madungus makes an interesting question. Which situation was worse, Pete Rose or Shoeless Joe Jackson?
Yeah, I saw that. Where is that? Right here.
And I will say this. I think Pete Rose was much worse because he was a leader who could manipulate at chess pieces all over the place. Shoeless Joe Jackson, there is stories that he had no idea what was going on. He was one.
Oh, you're talking about the White Sox?
Yes.
Yeah.
The White Sox. He was one player, and he had the leading stats for that entire World Series. He was one player in one position, whereas Pete Rose was the manager and master manipulator of all positions and everything in baseball. I would say this, Shoeless Joe Jackson, there was never over the top substantial proof that Pete Rose had. I would be more willing to put Shoeless Joe in the Hall of Fame than Pete Rose if I had to choose between the two.
Yeah. Okay.
Your thought?
I see both sides. Again, Shoeless Joe Jackson really didn't know what was going on. He was kind of like kept in the dark, obviously, because he was a really good player and all that. And nothing indicates that he did anything wrong other than being an innocent victim, so to speak. Pete Rose knowing, but again, to me, that is separate from what he did on the field. To me, that's just separate. And that's why, and you know what? Here's another thing, guys. Pete Rose is no longer living. If I can put it bluntly, who gives a Frosty, you know what? He's never going to see it. He's never going to know.
Well, let me throw this to you. You have one vote to put in the Hall of Fame. Who do you put, Pete Rose or Shoeless Joe Jackson? Wow. And everybody in the chat, give us your opinion. I honestly, there's no thought about it. Shoeless Joe.
Well, if you're going on the entire package,
yes,
then I have to say Shoeless Joe Jackson. But if you're going on the merits of what they did on the field only, I have to say Pete Rose.
There you go. And that is the ethical decision that Hall of Fame voters, writers, everybody has to weigh in bringing him in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful that the Manfred lifted the ban of these guys after. I like how he phrased it. Well, now that they're no longer with us, the ban is only for life.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's another thing that bothers me. I mean, we could do this whole topic for a half hour, but we're not going to. Well, we're halfway through that. But anyways, the thing is this: if it's okay to lift it after they're gone, then what was the stipulation for them being here? Why? Because they could get up on stage and just blast baseball? Is that what it's about? I mean, think about it. If Pete Rose or Shula Jojo Jackson go into Hall of Fame, the only people that can represent them are those left after they're gone. And they're not going to say anything bad to baseball commissioner or anything like that. We're not going to slander them or anything. Pete Rose probably would have.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson may have. But I'm just saying, all this time, now they're gone. It's okay. It's kind of like a slap to me. It's a slap in the face to me. Is what it is. It's a double standard. Oh, if you're alive, you ain't getting in. But if you're dead, hey, come on in, man. We got you now. I mean,
my wife is like rolling her eyes right now because I was laughing. The biggest two words we say in this house are double standard, standard all the time.
I hate double standard. Hate it.
I love some of the comments in the chat. David and Vic with their, if you had to choose between the two, both of them said neither. That's interesting.
Oh, that is okay. Let me back up a little bit.
Play catch up a little bit.
David Young says, go ahead and read it. It's to you.
At Kona, you say that about a lot of sports. Well, yes, I do. I say everything about a lot of sports. There's not enough beer in sports.
I like this. Victor Lapp said, Bill and Kona always bumping heads. That's what the show is supposed to be. If he agrees with me, then he might as well not be on.
Yeah.
just be a bobblehead going, yep.
How good's a show when we agree with each other all the time when he's frozen right there like he is?
Hey, look, we don't even agree right now. I got Bronco stuff on because we're going to talk about the schedule later on, and a Bronco hat. He has a white shirt and no hat. See? We're already bumping heads. Or kind of.
Well, hey, at least my head's got a little hair left. You want to shine your head up?
This is not, I have to stand up. This is not an actual Bronco jersey. I call it my practice jersey. My Broncos practice is all it is. Nothing on the back. So it's just what I call my warm-up jersey or practice jersey or preseason jersey, whatever. But I liked it because I love this. Again, the Duggars doesn't like it, but I like the stripe down the side. The big, it's kind of like the jersey, but it's not. But that's why I liked it, because I thought it was pretty cool. Let's see. David Young says, what you do outside of sports you play interfere with sports?
So it's basically back to the topic we were saying, what you do in life, does that really interfere with how you perform on the field or your legacy for being in football or baseball or anything like that?
All right, let me ask you this. Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame, correct? Nothing's ever been said or uttered any anything about Terrell Davis, right?
Right.
But yet he was on a plane where he was on a plane from Colorado to LA with his family, and his son asked a steward if I could have a glass of ice. And the steward kept walking. Terrell Davis reached out and touched the guy and said, hey, my son's asking a question. The guy turned around and said, you assaulted me. And Terrell Davis was arrested. I said this on my show about maybe, I don't know, whenever it happened, 6 months ago, whatever happened. And my point being is, that's off the field. Terrell Davis was completely innocent. The charges were dropped. I think it was United Airlines. The guy was fired because he accused Terrell Davis of assaulting him, and Terrell never touched him. And yet the FBI comes on there and arrests Terrell Davis in front of all these people and his family. How embarrassing! I mean, you see what I'm saying? There's certain times and certain circumstances where off-field incidences are out of your control. So I'm not saying that every off-the-field incident should come into play, and because it shouldn't, but there is a lot of them that do. But again, I mean, we're not going to talk about this first topic all night long. We could, but I don't know. I don't know. If I had to choose one, again, I have to have parameters. Are we talking about the entire on-field, off-field comes into play, or are we just talking about on-field? I say we just talk about on-field.
Yeah, and I agree with on-field. Off-field, you want to know something? There's levels of what you do on life. What happened to Terrell Davis was petty. I mean, this was a flight attendant who was looking to cash in and overreacted. And now, unfortunately, Terrell Davis had a little smear, but it all worked out in the end. Unfortunately, it was a little TMZ-ish for a while. In this situation, and here we go. All they did was lift the ban on the Hall of Fame. Doesn't mean they will get in. Joe was banned for 100 years. So if Rose was worse, he should still be banned. Madungus, you bring a great situation up. This is the ethical dilemma when it comes to what you did on the field compared to what you did off the field or off the playing field, maybe in the dugout, maybe in the a manager office or the corporate office or the world. These are the ethical discussions that, honestly, I'll tell you right now, Bill and we could go for 2 hours about this discussion with everybody's discussion. I mean, my dad even chimed in. Dad, I'm glad you're watching the show. He said, I'm torn between this too. Loved watching Pete Rose, but not sure he's for the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's my dad.
Yep. There you go.
Darren.
There you go. Okay. I gotta say something real quick. Darren's at Darren 767. If this is the same Darren that sent me a comment from last show, came up on my phone. He says, "Cheers, fellas from Chicago. Are you a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan?" I got to know that because look at that right there.
Big question. That is
I'm a huge Cubs fan, and the Cubs played the White Sox today, so it'll be interesting to see which fan he is. Darren, thank you so much for your comments. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for jumping in on the chat as well. Glad to see you, man. Glad to see you. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me know, Cubs fan or White Sox fan. Doesn't matter to me. I'm a Cubs fan, but hey, Chicago's Chicago, so it's all good.
Can we go to Vic's comment at the bottom there? Because that's huge pertaining to this discussion here. Because you betting on sports.
Well, go ahead and read it.
Pro athletes betting on sports while they're active is different. Yes and no. When you are betting on sports and you're still an active participant, whether it's on the field, off the field, in the management, in the pro front office, anything like that, you are affecting the game of play in some way, shape, or form. And Pete Rose affected the game. We can't prove it, yes, but he was betting against his own team that he was managing. No one can actually prove per se that he made a move to make sure that he won the game that he was wagering, which is, but still, Shoeless Joe Jackson supposedly was part of a conspiracy of 8 other players. I loved that movie. What was it? 8 Men Out, I think it was called, back in the mid 80s for the White Sox scandal. Loved that movie. But everything I ever read about it, because I was infatuated with the situation, everybody said Shoeless Joe Jackson had no idea what he was doing, was not involved. And he had the best hitting stats and fielding stats for the White Sox during that World Series. So that's why I'm leaning more towards putting Shoeless Joe Jackson back into the Hall of Fame. But if you guys have never seen that movie, 8 Men Out, watch it. Really good film.
How about if I tell you I never heard of the movie?
Then really?
I'm not serious. I don't watch movies, dude. I just
really.
It's not my thing. It's not my thing.
No, great
I'm
film.
dead serious. No, I do watch. I like Caddyshack. I like Smoking the Bandit. I liked Ice Castles with the skater. I like ones that are real life. No,
this was real life.
Well, I know it's real life, but I don't know. I just never attracted me because I don't like the White Sox. Probably.
You want to know something? You may not like the White Sox, but this was a really well done movie.
All right, I'll check it out. I will give you that. I will check it out.
Let's see. John Cusack, Charlie Sheen. Who played Shoeless? D.B. Sweeney played Shoeless Joe Jackson. It was an actually really good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I've watched it a few times. I'd see it again, over again. Yeah, Madungus, I agree. 8 Men Out was amazing. So that's your homework. Darren, a Braves fan.
Says, I'm actually a Braves fan. All right, I have to ask you this because I'm curious. I live in Southern California. I'm a Cubs fan because I spent my 15th birthday in Wrigley Field. My cousin, we did a cross country trip, and that's where I spent my 15th birthday. So, hence a Cubs fan. Darren, how'd you become a Braves fan? Are you from Atlanta? Are you from Georgia? Whatever. Just curious, man. Just curious.
Okay, and I've got a curious question too.
Oh, look at this one. Victory Lap says, what about the Ohtani situation?
Now, Ohtani was not culpable because he was not the one who was doing the wagering. He was not the one who was involved with it. It was his sport.
But he funded the money. Maybe not knowingly. Maybe not knowingly.
Not knowingly.
So that clears him.
I read so much about that situation. He was cleared from that. So, but I want to go back to Darren. Darren, who would you prefer to shake hands with? Was it Bob Horner or Dale Murphy?
Well, we don't know how old Darren is.
If you know what, those two players from the 80s and
that's true.
Early 90s. They were
Bob Horner wasn't 80s.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Bob Horner?
I just popped in my head.
Victory Lab says we will never know, but very suspicious pertain to the Ohtani situation. Yeah. You know what? Ohtani could have thrown his interpreter under the bus.
Yeah. We may never know, but hey, the FBI cleared Ohtani. So we may never get the final answer on it, but Ohtani was cleared.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Dale Murphy. Yes.
Started watching the Braves as a kid on TBS. Dale Murphy for sure. Yeah.
You want to know something?
It used to be TBS for the Braves and WGN for my Cubs. Yep.
Yeah. You know what? As soon as cable started coming out and we had WGN and TBS, it was Braves. You could watch Cubs game in the early afternoon out here. Braves game once you got home from school. Dodgers in the night. You got 3 games because the Cubs were during the day.
Yep.
The East Coast was Atlanta. So that's why I watched a lot of games, and it was Dale Murphy, Bob Horner. But yeah, Dale Murphy, wonderful choice.
Nice. All right. Now let's move on to topic number 2 after 30 minutes of the other. But hey, it was great interaction. All good stuff. But Dungus says real quick, Bill talking about going to the Cubs' very first game when he was 15.
Was that in 1892 or 1893?
1908 when they won their first World Series championship. That's when it was. I look good for my age, don't I?
Yeah.
100 and some odd years old. Holy crap. Hang on, I got my tablet over here with the schedule that we're going to do that. Okay. Ready for this? This
Reloading.
this surprised me a lot. Derek Carr,
Oh,
quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, is calling it a career. The main reason is not the length of years he has played in the NFL, but rather a lingering shoulder injury that just won't allow him to continue at that level.
Yep.
Did that catch you off guard? Because I know he was trying to rehab. No, it did not.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, 11 years plus all the college, plus all the high school, the wear and tear. That shoulder injury, I don't, off the top of my head, I researched.
Look at that. Do you agree with that? The Raiders ruined Carr. If so, how? If so, how did they ruin him?
He took some brutal hits. I remember there was one hit he took where he got pile drived right on his right shoulder. Once you, and if I remember right, and Vic, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he break his clavicle?
Oh, yeah, that's what the injury is. They cannot get it back to where he needs to be to get that throwing arm correct.
I will tell you this. I play a ton of beach volleyball. I've been playing for most of my life, for over 40 years. I can't hit the ball the way it is I used to, because there was one play where I accidentally got hit and fell right on my shoulder, and I didn't do anything. But once you injure that shoulder, you cannot throw in the same way.
Ooh. David Yonkins says, I heard that Carr's shoulder injury was from college, not pro.
Wouldn't be surprised. I think that is right. But
okay, so wait a minute. So let me interject this because you can correct me. So you're saying that a guy could be drafted into the NFL, play 11 seasons with an injury from college that was what? Semi-healed? Partially healed, or what?
I'm trying to remember. I was just researching quickly. You know what? When you have the brains and the skills to play QB, you may not have the greatest arm. An NFL team will take a chance on you. I love Derek Carr.
Yeah, but 11 seasons, and now it's just come down to now this injury. You would think it would happen a lot earlier if it happened in college.
You want to know something? This I will tell you right now. It coming out, oh, he had this in college. Someone's sending bad press out there. You know what? Derek Carr played 11 years. He's going to get a retirement fund because he played his full 10 years. I'm happy for him. But here's the thing, and everybody goes through this. You made the decision at the right time before things get a lot worse and you have a serious injury that could be debilitating for the rest of your life.
True.
I hope he's fine. Good guy. But here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised now if he tries to go into coaching. Is he retiring now because someone said, hey, I want to bring you on my coaching staff?
Could be.
Raiders. Raiders may have did him wrong, Vic, but would he be a good QB coach for the Raiders who knows the system?
Yeah. Yeah. Could be.
Oh, Dave said no. Really?
Well, I mean, never know. Never know. Look at a lot of former players. Gary Kubiak was the Broncos head coach at Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a retired player. So there you go. You never know.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he goes into coaching. He may not go back with the Raiders, but he may have someone that he can go to, maybe with the Saints, maybe with Houston, maybe with the Raiders. I know you're not saying he won't go to the Raiders, but I think him retiring does two things. One, puts him as a valuable commodity for someone who needs a QB coach. And two, he's already done those 10 years, so he gets a retirement stipending from the NFL. He's taken care of, and his health. So, yes, does he have one of those careers that had a lot more potential than he should have had? Yes. But He got his career in. I'm happy for him. Enjoy retirement, and hopefully you can contribute more to the NFL. By the way, anybody in the chat have a recommendation for Bill's Wi-Fi that keeps sticking and stuttering?
I'm not on Wi-Fi, you crazy guy. And here, you want me to duck out and change it up?
Up to you, but AT&T has a huge special right now. 1 gig for $65. I just switched over.
Whatever. You know what it is? My wife's the TV's on in the family room, and she's watching. I guarantee you, she's watching something on Wi-Fi. I got my phone here. I got my tablet here. I got my laptop here. I got my watch here. What else do I got going on here? Probably something else. It's just, yeah. Would you stop? just keep it. Okay. We are going to, and I know, guys, I know. So keep the comments kindly in the chat. I know this is a football oriented show, but we're going to baseball one more time, just one more time, and then it's all the rest football, okay? But this is a Colorado connected football story. Here we go. The Colorado Rockies have fired Bud Black. The Rockies sit as the worst team in Major League Baseball as we stand today. Is it really Bud's fault that the Rockies continue to lose, or is it the owners who don't give a frosty crank and don't give the manager the top players he deserves? Yes or no? Go ahead, Spence. I know this is your topic, so fire away.
Yes, I am a lifelong Rockies fan. Yes, I go back to 1992. I have a bullpen jacket from the very first season that was given to me. My Uncle John knew the McMaster's family, who were the original owners. This Bud Black being fired is the wrong thing. He kept this team together. He got this team to it. But unfortunately, let's go back to 2019. 2019, we're just coming off 2 straight years of playoff wildcard participation. One of them where we beat the
victory lap. You can't go there. He called them the Chokies.
Hey, you know what? That's okay right now. Wow. By the way, who did we beat in 2018 wild card? I wonder who that was.
2018.
Oh, that's right, the Cubs. Had to get you on that.
Didn't play the Cubs in that 2018. Rockies didn't play the Cubs in 2018. You sure?
I think we beat you. We eliminated you in the wild card game.
Okay, go ahead with what you're saying. I'm gonna get this.
So Nolan Arenado was signed to a 8-year, $260 million contract where he was promised not only by the general manager, and I knew I would.
Oh, they did play the Cubs. They won the game 2-1 in 13 innings to go advance. Dadgummit, I just forgot about that. All right, you're just done. Goodbye. You're out of here. I'm done with you. Now, Madungus, I want a replacement.
Petty jealousy. No, the general manager of the Rockies, Jeff Burditch, did an amazing job putting the team together from 2014 to 2021. He made some questionable trades. He made a trade that we all questioned, but he knew, trading away Tulowitzki so that Story could come up and do what he did. But he and the Manfred brothers made a promise to Nolan Arenado when he signed that contract. We're going to build a winner. We're going to get people in here. We're going to build a winner. What happened after that? Jeff Burditch quit. The Manfred brothers still own the team. And the Rockies, everybody ran from the team. I'll tell you right now who needs to get fired. You, Charlie Manfred. You, the brother. Forget the name. Both of you guys need to get fired. I'm telling you right now, Walton family. Okay, the Cronkies own the Nuggets and the Quebec Nordique. I mean the Avalanche. They own those guys. You own the Broncos. Come and buy the Rockies so you two can have a battle between ownership teams. The Rockies, that stadium, if none of you have ever been there before, it is worth the trip. I took my wife up there in 2016. She was like, Dodger Stadium is Mecca. Dodger Stadium is awesome. It is incredible. As soon as I took her to Coors Field, she's like, oh my God, this is an amazing stadium. Dodger Stadium sucks.
Well, yeah, you're in God's country in Colorado. I mean,
oh my God. And quick little story. Well, the game I took her to, the 8th inning comes and we all are starting to look at each other. When you're up in Colorado, you get that smell like the weather is changing and something's coming off the Rockies. And I told my wife, let's go to the car. She's like, why? It's the 8th inning. We're running to the car. Right as we're about a quarter mile from the car, massive hailstorm. She's like, how do you know this stuff is coming? I was like, that's Colorado blood that I have in me. You know that smell. The Rockies is an amazing. Their stadium,
that smell. Can't you
their
smell
stadium
that smell?
is right there next to all these sports bars. It is a happening place. And for the Manfred brothers to destroy the legacy and ruin this organization, it's on them. The value of the organization is $1.475 billion. Walton family, come up with a quick $1.5 billion, pay these guys off, get them out of here, and build a franchise again.
I am ecstatic right now. Yeah.
I know my Rockies.
Conan went nuts. He got some emotion. He got some passion. I love it.
I have emotion. I'm sick and tired of my buddy Brian and my buddy Jimmy and my buddy Timmy, who goes by another name I can't say, but it rhymes with rock and starts with a C. They are ripping on me because my Rockies.
It's just crock.
Because my Rockies might break a over 100-year Major League Baseball record held by the Washington Senators for the worst record of the first 50 games. I want to take a leak. Are we still talking? Yeah, Vic, go take your leak. All right, here.
Oh, that is hilarious. That is so good. Clayton Huron, what is up? Says, hey, guys. I say, hey, what's up, Clayton? He says, smash that like button and share, guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Clayton, for always having our back, man.
I'm sorry.
And then stops it off by saying, absolutely an awesome way to top off a Friday night. No. Yeah, this is what we call Broncos Buzz Happy Hour. That's what we should call it. Broncos Buzz Happy Hour.
Well, we'll talk to the boss.
We're here to make you guys happy, get you guys ready for the weekend, get you guys excited for what's coming up, get you caught up on all the different topics. That's what we got to call it. Broncos Buzz Happy Hour.
By the way, Clayton, I like Clayton's next text.
I absolutely love how our schedule falls. I'm smelling a 12 to 14 win season, baby. Let's go. We're going to, there you go. Cheers, Kona. We're going to get into that. I got a couple more topics real quick before we end the show. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Where is it?
How about some horse racing? Some quick horse racing.
Oh, go for horse racing. So, we haven't had that topic on the show ever before.
Guys, I'm a horse racing enthusiast. I don't know if any of you remember Hollywood Park in Inglewood, California. I used to host a handicapping seminar on Friday nights when they had their Friday night racing, where I would handicap Australia horse racing. So it was $1 beers, $1 hot dogs, $1 admission, $1 sodas. Nice. Thank you.
45 minutes in, 3 topics so far. I love this show.
So I love horse racing so much that I learned Australia horse racing and I was helping make fans. I nearly paid for my MBA education from Pepperdine playing the horses in Australia. Yeah, I hit some big superfectas that, thank God, I could take that, pay off my college debt. So I love horse racing. You ever want to, if they ever come, you live by Santa Anita Park, Victory. I used to love that track until they changed their dirt surface to a harder dirt surface. I'm the type of guy who looks at a horse race and I'm like, who's the best closer? Who's going to come from behind? That's why I like Santa Anita's grass rather than their dirt. But we're talking Preakness. We've got 9 horses in the field. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to give you a few horses to really look at while we're talking.
Victor Lap says he lives by Santa Anita Park.
Didn't you just hear what I said? I talked about that.
I'm sorry. I was looking at my bet that I put on at my bet I put on baseball, and I need 2 more players to come through, and then I win.
Oh.
Sorry.
So what's interesting, we'll be quick here, is the Kentucky Derby winner is not racing in the Preakness. So interesting. This is the second time in 3 years.
That's because the jockey got freaking fined, dude.
Well, the jockey got fined, but also they're going to wait until the bell knot and give the time. So here are the horses I like. I like number 2, Journalism, finished second. Definitely someone who's going to be there. I really have watched some videos on the number 4 horse, Heart of Honor. Now, this is a horse that was finished first and second from
this is the Broncos Buzz horse recap.
Over in UAB, also is run in Great Britain. I think he's got a chance. Now, Pimlico is a racetrack that favors speed horses, not closers coming from the back. So, and the weather is supposed to be warm and nice, so no one's going to be flying from the back of the pack. And the other horse I'm taking a long look at is number 6, River Thames. Definitely love his run in the Bluegrass Stakes, a grade 1 stakes, setting up for the Kentucky Derby. Was a fast closing third, didn't quite get there, didn't qualify for the Kentucky Derby, but definitely will be a chance here. I will say this, if you want to make a few dollars, bet a 2-4-6 exacta box. And yes, I am betting, Vic, just like I bet on the Kentucky Derby. I hit the exacta. Oh, if I had done the trifecta, would have made a lot more money. But 2-4-6, the only horse that I'm worried about.
2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Kona!
Kona! But there's our horse racing segment. I hope you know.
Oh, Madungus, you did not go there. When Drew Lock was on the team, someone should have named a horse after him called Cocklock. Opportunity missed.
Timmy,
moving on.
My buddy Timmy is going, yeah, because that word in the middle is his nickname. So we're not going to say it. We keep a clean show.
Oh, you mean horse? The word in the middle, horse. Oh, I know. I get what you said. I knew what you're going. All right. Okay. So that is your wagering tip from the insider Kona Spence, brought to you by Broncos Buzz.
$2 exacta box, 2-4-6.
There you go.
And if we ever can, and if I can work a deal out with my buddy who's high up at Del Mar, we'll do Broncos Buzz from the racetrack on a Friday.
Victory lap. Going back to what McDougall says, just call the horse Lock and Loaded. That's good, dude. That is good. That's a double meaning. It could be gun, it could be horse. That's great. Or a quarterback. That's great. Okay. Where was I going with this?
Madungus's next name. Oh, really? Yeah. No, we're not saying that. Nope. I will tell you this.
I'm not saying it, but if you guys saw it up on the chat, that's hilarious.
The best horse name that I ever saw, the best horse name I ever heard that got through was this: Hoof Hearted. Now say that fast.
Hoof Hearted. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Moving on to football.
Ding.
Whew. Anyways, that was good. Oh, yeah. Hang on. We got to get to this real quick. Moving on to football. This is this week's final for this person, Jackass of the Week.
You suck, you jackass.
All right. You ready for this, guys? I talked about this in shows previous. I don't believe Spence was part of the show at the time. But anyways, here it is. In case you don't know, Xavier Babadar, better known as Chiefsaholic, has been sentenced to 32 years in prison for robbery. Now, I mentioned this before, but I'm going to rehash this because this is more up to date, obviously. Babadar robbed banks in 7 states. That is how he funded his Chiefs games that he went to. He's all dressed up in this garb, okay? In case you don't know who I'm talking about or haven't seen this person at a Chiefs game on TV, he is the one dressed in a wolf's suit. 32-year prison sentence. And he requested to be in a highly secured federal prison. They said you're in a high secured federal prison. You robbed 7 banks. I mean, they even likened it to who was that guy? Billy. Who was that one that robbed all them? Not Buffalo Bill. Who was the one that robbed all them with that lady?
Bronco Bill?
Huh? Not me. No, you know what I'm talking about back in years past. Billy the Kid, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Oh, we're
so-
going back to your childhood age.
Not me. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
do it. I didn't do No, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what
Okay.
you're talking
So they were liking him to that. Who's thumbs up over there?
Bonnie and Clyde by Mundungus.
That's what I meant. Bonnie and Clyde, not Billy the Kid, whatever. But yeah, that guy. So they likened it to him or to them because of all the different ways he was able to elude 7 states over 10 years. Holy crap. I mean, this guy's good. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, if he can pull it off and get away with that long.
You know what? May he rot in hell.
I totally agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not praising this guy. I'm just saying that that's how he funded his games. And everybody, he would take pictures. They said he would take pictures with kids that looked up to him. Said, oh, hey, this is a great guy. He goes to all the games. He's a mascot, this and this. Everybody thought he was fantastic. But the dark side that allowed him to do that caught up to him. And you know what? I have no sympathy for him. I really don't.
I don't either, especially being a Chiefs fan. Bad choice.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right. We are now into the second part of the topic. The topic was flowers and schedule. Here is the Broncos schedule. And I have some issues with this schedule. So let's start out.
Really?
I'm going to run. Oh, yeah. I'm going to run down every single game before we comment on individuals. So I'm going right down the list. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We got the Titans, the Colts, the Chargers, the Bengals. This is all in order. Bengals, Eagles, Jets, Giants, Cowboys, Texans, Raiders, Chiefs, bye week. That's the first clue to why I'm upset. Redskins, I mean Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, and end up with the Chargers. Okay? Now, here's my main thorn in the side. And I'm going to get into what the NFL said about this. And I totally disagree. Totally disagree. Up what? My volume?
No. I'm Victory's thinking 12
Oh.
wins. I'm thinking more.
Oh, hang on.
Keep
I
going.
gotta go back to comments because I was okay. All right. So let me get my side of it. Then we'll get to the comments and then we'll get your side, Coda. Here's my beef with this schedule. And it comes at the bye week. Why in heaven's name is a bye week not after the London game with the Jets, but it's 4 games later after the Chiefs? Okay, I dug into this and I found out why the NFL is doing this. The NFL says, and this is a stupid ass remark, makes no sense whatsoever. The NFL says, well, we've got 15 games in or 10 games or whatever in international territory. So we cannot accommodate bye weeks for every team after those games. Huh? You're not playing 15 games in 1 week, you moron. You're playing one game out of the country. One game. Broncos Jets, okay? In London. Why can't those guys go on a bye at the following? Well, it's scheduling. You know, the Jets got to play. So what? Then have them on a bye. I mean, I don't get the point. I don't get their reasoning. You know what their reasoning is to me? Money. That's what the reasoning is. It has nothing to do with the integrity of the game or the players' health and condition. They're going to go from London back to the United States. And the Broncos game is on Sunday at night. At night, guys, or in late afternoon in London, which means it's early morning, like 6:30 my time, Pacific Coast. And they're flying back. They're not going to get here till Monday morning. Okay? And then Mondays are off day. But now they got jet lag. Okay, now speaking of the Jets, because that's who they play. But anyways, they got jet lag. And then they got to go into practice or game film on Tuesday? Seriously, with a foggy head? NFL is trying to they're trying to do what they do at the golf course I work at. Try and cram in too many people into too many tee times that doesn't work. And that's what the NFL is trying to do. They're trying to squeeze as many games in as they can and international games because they want to promote the sport, which I understand, but they're saturating it to the point where it's going to go bad. It's just, I don't like that. What do you think, Spence? I hate that.
Who do the Broncos play after their London game?
The Giants at home.
Exactly. I mean, a Pee-wee team can beat the Giants. You think these guys are going to be motivated to play against Russell Wilson? Yes. And also, you want your bye week as late as possible. I mean, their bye week comes after week 11.
Madungus agree with you. To be fair, next game's against the Giants, so it's kind of a bye week.
It is. It's kind of a bye week.
But they got to play the game anyways.
Oh, my God. You want to know something? They could be half awake and they'll still obliterate the Giants. I
hope that doesn't come back to bite you, dude.
Well, then bite me all you can. But the bye week, the later, the better, because it helps with the injuries and the wear and tear. So the bye week, if I did this right, comes in week 12. Perfect. Yep. The later, the better. Gives them a strategy. And then after that, where do they go? One of their toughest games at the Washington Commanders.
Redskins.
They'll be ready for that. Then they finish up on a very favorable schedule, I see, at Vegas, home against Green Bay, home against Jacksonville, at KC, home against
favorable.
Overall,
favorable?
Yes. Overall, yes. You have 3 home games and a road game against a team that is struggling. I'm going to tell you this. This is favorable where you barely leave the state in the last December month, and you're home at Kansas City. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going out on a limb.
Oh, boy.
I am not going to be surprised if we go 14-3. Yes. Put that
down,
Dad.
Put down the glass. Put down the pipe.
I would not be surprised if we go 14-3. That's how favorable I see this schedule, especially with the enhanced defense. And when you get to the winter months, when you get to December, what do you need? You need defense on top of there. Here's who you play in December and January. Vegas, in a controlled environment. Home against Green Bay. You control that environment. You're at home. Home against Jacksonville, a Florida team.
You don't control the environment. It could be snowing, dude.
Great. Then you're going to
Green Bay's used to snow. I mean, come on. But they're not used to altitude. I get it.
That's not used to altitude. Yes, Christmas Day, we have to go to Kansas City. Why do I get the feel? Yeah.
But Duggan said, damn, I thought I was an optimist.
Yes. Yes, Christmas Day, we have to go for a setup. Boy, would I love to play Scrooge, but that was one of my 3 losses I saw. And then we're back home to end the season against a team who has been our Achilles within the division, the Chargers, your alter ego team. We take care of them. Guys,
right.
Here's what I see as our 3 losses. Week 3 at the Chargers, week 6 at Philadelphia, and
well, that's a given.
And Christmas at Kansas City. All the other ones I see as games that are very, very winnable for us.
So you're saying we're beating the Chiefs in Denver?
I say we're beating the Chiefs in Denver.
Okay, I'm not going to give my prediction because I haven't really studied it. The schedule just came out on Wednesday. Haven't really studied it. I was prepping for the show because I do all of my really hardcore. I do everything from Sunday on. I mean, once the show ends, I'm always on it periodically. I really dive in on Wednesday. I got the schedule. I didn't really dive into it. I will do more of that as we go further along towards the actual season. But there's I tell you, put to you this way, Kona, is I am not going to equal your prediction. There's no way. There's no way I'm equaling that. It might be close. I just want to see how things kind of shape out. Now, let me back out of here because I got strength of schedule brought up on my tablet right here. So strength of schedule is our next topic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. The Denver Broncos are ranked number 15 in the strength of schedule. All of that sounds good, but it's based on the records of last season of the teams they will face this year. Everything changes, okay? Here's the hardest schedule is the Giants. Can you believe that? The Giants have the hardest schedule based on win percentage, 574.
Yep.
The opponents are 574. The easiest is the 49ers at 415% winning percentage. Denver 505. Yep. Right there in the middle. Now, the ones above them that they have to play are the Eagles at 561, the Cowboys at 557, the Packers at 557,
great
Commanders at 550, and the Chiefs at 522, and the Chargers at 522, and the Bengals at 509. Do you still think you're 14-3?
Yep.
Wow.
And here's why. I think, and Victory, pull up Victory's comment there because I agree. We sweep the Raiders, we split with the Chiefs, we split with the Chargers, and we lose to Philadelphia. I think the one game that you and I might disagree on is we go to Washington and win. We're coming off a bye week. I think we'll. I wouldn't disagree with
that.
But look at every other game.
What I'm looking at, as far as the Broncos, the teams the Broncos are playing, they are better than us in schedule. It's opponents. So that means that I know that means nothing this year. Based on the strength of schedule from last year, those teams haven't gotten any worse.
Let's look at the AFC South. I think we sweep the AFC South.
But they're not above us. They're not above us on this strength of schedule rating. What I was going after was the strength of schedule rating. We're playing the Giants, okay? They're at 574 with the hardest schedule.
Yeah, but the Giants are a mess. We're going to obliterate them. Next.
Okay, and then so I see what you're saying. So you're saying that like the Eagles at 561, but you already said we're going to lose to them.
We're going to lose to the Eagles.
Okay, and then we got the Cowboys at 557. You're saying we're beating them.
We're beating the Cowboys are a mess. They're horrible. They have been horrible against the AFC the past 5 years. They're a mess.
Okay, so basically the strength of schedule, you like where the Broncos are sitting right at 15.
Oh, no, I like the Broncos schedule. You have to face the AFC South. You have to face the NFC West or East. You got to go against Green Bay. That's going to be a great game. You got to go play Cincinnati as part of the exchange in the AFC. You play the Jets again because they finished third. The Jets are a mess. I look at this schedule and I was like, there's 14 games that are very winnable, and the 3 road games that I think we might struggle or because of the skip of when it's scheduled, we might not do as well. Going to KC for Christmas. I mean, you think that's a setup or what? That's a setup for us not to win. Now, if we come out of that,
of course, the NFL loves Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, us going to the
and the Chiefs are wearing red. Come on, Christmas, red, white. Come on.
And us going to play against the Chargers. I don't know why it is. Every time we go play the Chargers on the road over the past 5-6 years, we haven't done as well. So I put that as a loss. Us going to Philly and winning, not
You're
foreseeable.
kidding, right? You're kidding.
Yeah, not foreseeable. Every other game I see, and no, you're right.
It ain't the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Kansas City refs.
Yeah. But also Vic's previous comment, I like it. If we stay healthy, we win the West. I really do believe that because Kansas City has got a salary cap problem. So they cannot get as many resources. Of course, the officiating help them out.
Victory Lap says it's our defense that's going to be the problem. I don't see that.
Really?
I don't see that at all.
No, not at all.
No, not with right here. Hufunga and Greenlaw. Are you kidding me? And who we just get? Who we draft? We drafted what?
I think our defense is going to be a problem for everybody else in the league.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Madunga, like your prediction, Chiefs going 9-8. If you look at the Chiefs' schedule, it's brutal because they have a first-place schedule. And think of everybody who won the division in the AFC, who they have to go up
against. Plus, they also have to play the Eagles.
They also play the Eagles.
Ooh, but they could get revenge from Super Bowl.
Oh, Vic, we're reading it wrong. That our defense will not be a problem?
That's what I was saying. That's why I said, whoa.
All right. I think our defense is going to be a big problem for everybody else and not internally, more externally.
Oh, yeah, no, he was right. He says for other teams. He was right. He said for other teams, you guys read it wrong. Okay. All right. We corrected ourselves. Thank you. We got that right. Victor, that says it's going to be the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. I don't see that. No. I don't see that at all. Broncos and Chiefs and Chargers maybe, but I can't stand the Chargers, so I just don't want to be anywhere near the top. All right. This is the last topic, guys. Last topic for Friday night, May 16th. Can you believe we're halfway through the freaking month already? Good heavens. Year's already flying. Okay. Last topic. This is going to be controversial again, guys. So speak up in the chat because I know you guys are going to have an opinion, just like I will, obviously, and Spence will. Here we go. In May, later this year, I believe later this month, I believe it's the 21st through the 24th. At the owners' meeting, the NFL is considering using a different format for the playoffs. This would look a lot more like what the NHL uses in their playoff format. Let me get into this. Let me preface it. Let me give my take, and then Spence can go, and then we'll just have a free-for-all. The NFL right now, and I'm going to bring this up because I have this here. The NFL, I want to make sure I got this correct because, hang on. Okay, here we go. I got it. The NFL format, the way it is now in the playoffs, is 4 division winners, 3 wild card. Doesn't matter what your freaking record is, but if you win the division at 8-8, like the Broncos did back when they played the Steelers, okay, with Tim Tebow, I love that guy. I love that game. they would have had a road game under the new format. Why do I like this new format? I'll tell you why. Here it is. Last year, the Lions, 15-2. These are the 4 division wins. Lions, Eagles, Buccaneers, Rams. 15-2, 14-3, 10-7, 10-7. Vikings, number 1 wild card, 14-3. They should have been the 3rd wild card. Why? Oh, wait a minute. Eagles were 14-3, but the Eagles won the division. So they trump the Vikings and go to 2. Vikings would have dropped to 3. They would have had a home game against the Rams. Home games are much better opportunity to win than on the road and have to travel and all that good stuff. NHL does the same thing. And I know, guys, before you say, well, NHL does points. Yeah, but it's based on wins. And the only reason why they do points is because an overtime loss gets you 1 point. That's why they do on points. But it's still primarily based on wins. Okay? Now, I like what Madunga said. I talked to him earlier today before coming on the show. I like what he said. If it comes down to the last playoff spot, the number 1 spot, or number 7 spot, I should say, excuse me, and there's a wild card, or excuse me, non-winning division team that goes and has the same record as a division winner, the division winner overrides the non-division winner. I agree with that. That's what I like. Now, had last year's playoffs in the NFC been what they're proposing to do just this year, trying it out just this year, it would have been this. Lions number 1, 15-2. Eagles number 2, 14-3. Vikings number 3, 14-3, and a home game. Redskins, 12-5. Packers 11-6. Buccaneers 10-7. Rams 10-7. That's how it should be. Now, I know purists are going to say, well, then you're punishing the division winners. No, you're not. You're rewarding the guys who did better than them. That's what you're doing. You're rewarding them for doing better. Okay, I'm sorry if you're in a tough division. Oh, excuse me, I hit the microphone again. I'm sorry if you're in a tough division, and I'm sorry. Go ahead. And I'm sorry if you're, in a division where you're 8-8 or 9-8. Okay, I'm sorry. That should not penalize the other teams that played better. And I heard from my nephew, Bobby, who's a huge Vikings fan. He said, well, the Vikings should have won the division. They should have beaten the Lions last game of the season. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Why is it irrelevant? Because it's tough to win against your division, the same team twice. It's very tough, extremely tough. It should come down to overall records. Just like it does in the NHL, it should do that in the NFL. That's my point. I would love to see the NFL do this year just to see how it works. And if it doesn't work, they don't like it, whatever, for whatever reason, okay, give it a shot. What is wrong with trying to make the game better and the overall conclusion better? What do you think?
I agree, but I think, didn't you mean the NBA and not the NHL? Because the NHL has division, top 3, and a wild card.
No, the NHL goes by points. It's conference. It's division, but overall in the playoffs, it's conference.
Okay.
It's conference.
But the NBA does that too, where the division winners are in the playoffs, but they may not get one of the top 3 seeds.
Yeah. I agree. That's the way it should be. Why is football so dogmatic on, I won the division at 8-8, so we got a home game? Why? If the Steelers that year were 12-4.
I know. We would never have had some incredible games like Seattle and New Orleans, like right. Denver and Pittsburgh. But I appreciate the NFL trying to make this more rewarding for teams that perform better on the field. Mm-hmm. So I respect that. Let's just see what happens because, hey, the Washington Commanders had to go on the road and they performed well. You want to know something? You want to succeed in the playoffs? You go out there and win the game no matter if you're the 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So the Vikings were 14-3, and everybody knows Vikings are my NFC team. So the Vikings were 14-3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Vikings are 14-3 and they went on the road to play the Rams in LA, and they got beat, my thing is, if the Vikings would have had a home game, they would have had an advantage because it's a home crowd. You don't think so?
Still beating them.
You think so?
I would have wagered on it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is the way the format is now, you like it the way it is now, or would you like to try it the new format?
I'd like to try it. I'd like to see what happens and reward the teams who had a better record. But if in that situation, the Rams would have probably been getting 4 or 5 points. The way Minnesota looked at the end of the season, I would have wagered on the Rams to go into Minnesota and win that game.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I see where you come from. I do. Madunga says, and I agree with it, just because you won the division doesn't mean that your division doesn't still stink. I agree.
It's true.
It's true. I mean, when Tim Tebow's quarterback for the Broncos and they won the division at 8-8, what does that tell you about the AFC West that year?
How about 1 year when Seattle won the NFC West at 7-9, and I believe the Carolina Panthers won the NFC South 1 year at 7-9.
Yeah, it can happen. But in this new format, they wouldn't even get in.
This new format,
so
they
would
get in. If they won the division, they would get in, but they would not have one of the higher seeds in the home game. They'd be at the bottom of the seeding and going on the road.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, no, I would, just like in baseball, and I know we've gone different, right? We've talked about baseball, we've talked about hockey, we've talked about football, we talk about baseball, basketball. That's what we do in this show. Okay, we go all different directions.
Yeah.
So speaking of baseball, I'm all in favor of the AI calling the third strike or the fourth ball. And I know you're a purist. I know my nephew Bobby's a purist. He said that he couldn't watch the show live today. He's doing things, but he'll watch it, so I know he'll see it. But the thing is, I want to make the game more fair. I want to make the game more. People say, "Oh, all you want to do is make it like a video game." Well, I'll tell you what. I have a PS5. I do play baseball. I can change the way it's played. I can make it as pure as possible, or I can make it as AI as I want. Okay? I don't. I keep it traditional, but I bring AI in when it comes to challenging calls at first base or challenging calls on a trap ball. I can do that. So why not do that in real baseball? Why not? They do it in football. You know what they're doing this year, buddy? You know what they're doing this year? They're bringing in AI to measure out where the first down marker is. They're still going to have the chain gang, but if the chain gang doesn't line up with what AI says the first down is, guess what? AI overrules them. They're doing that this year.
So okay, that's more of a precision thing. But then do you want AI to determine what pass interference is, what holding
Absolutely.
is? No,
yes.
Because
what do you mean no?
Because
we've seen guys' jerseys pulled and they don't call it. Why? Because it's a close game and it's the last 2 minutes of the game and they have a chance to win it, and we don't want to be the cause for it. No, if it's wrong, it's wrong.
You could call AI could call offensive interference and defensive pass interference on every play. Do you want after the incomplete pass?
No, not
pass interference, 85 offense, pass interference, 80 or 31 defense. Replay down.
No, it would
because AI has said we have to replay it because there's penalties.
It would only be used if the referee throws the flag. If the referee throws a flag and says pass interference, then they review it. Well, they do it anyways. Then they review it. This way they can review it with AI and go, you know what? That wasn't pass interference. Or it was blatant. Or if it wasn't pass interference, but you see the guy's jersey pulled like that, then they go to AI. But it would have to be it would have to be a coach's challenge.
Yeah, but you want to know something? On every single play, we see a guy's jersey being pulled, where you see the offensive player grabbing on to the defensive guy to hold on to him so he can get that PI call and make that call one-handed. That's where the human element has to come in and go, you guys are both doing it. I'm not throwing a flag.
But then it says AI should not be over penalties. The coaches need to be able to challenge it and get a review. I agree. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying, McDuggets, is this, okay? If a coach thinks and sees that a jersey was pulled, he can throw a challenge flag and say, hey, I want AI to look at that and tell me if that was pass interference. And of course, it's not going to be widespread. It's going to be in parameters where it has to be a blatant pull. It has to be a push. It has to be hands to the face, whatever. But they did say, by the way, Kona, they are going to use in preseason and possibly in regular season, they're going to use AI for roughing the passer, pass interference, and offsides. To where the guy jumps in the neutral zone, but they don't call it, kind of thing. But obviously they're definitely going to use it for first downs. So the game is changing, the game is advancing, but I just don't see the purists like yourself. And I'm all about technology. I want to make the game better, make it more. Take the human element out of it, majority wise, because I want the game to be fair. I want it to be fair. I don't want a baseball team winning a World Series because an umpire called a ball four on a bases loaded and the winning run comes in on a walk. No, when it was clearly a strike, something like that. You know, I don't want that. I don't want a non-pass interference call in the end zone that results in a touchdown when it's clearly pass interference. I just don't want that. I want it to be real. Yes. Conan's out of here again. He's calling timeout. So speaking of football, he called timeout. Let's see. Madungus says, no, that's too nitpicky. I'm saying a challenge flag for a blatant pass interference. That wasn't called. Okay, I get that, Madungus. Oh, here, put that back up there, Conan, so you can read it.
Too nitpicky. I'm saying a challenge fan for a blatant PI that wasn't called.
I'm back and you're back. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Anyways.
You know what? The hardest thing is I believe this game is played by humans, ruled by humans, officiated by humans. You're not going to get everything correct. Now, can AI help?
You can.
Can AI help with the more important details? Yes. Penalties are more of a observational call or objective call. And we could argue until we run out of beer, which I think we're almost there. I just
well, that's the show, guys.
I mean, you want to see one of the blatant bad calls? Go back to, I think it was the 85 World Series between Kansas City and St. Louis. There was a ground ball where KC guy beat it out at first. The umpire called him safe when he was out by a big step, and that opened the inning to a Kansas City coming back, winning Game 6, and then coming back and winning Game 7. That is a situation where AI could jump in. But if we're going back to pass interference and we're just like one guy's grabbing, one guy's tugging on the arm, we're playing hand tag with each other and everything.
Footsies.
That too. That's where, how is AI going to say, well, you grabbed the shirt more than he grabbed your hand and did this, so you get the AI, you get. That's,
no, I get what you're saying. My thought is more along the line of being very controversial calls. Like,
Right.
I mean, us fans watching TV with all the different replays, we can see it was a blatant call, and you're not calling it. That's when I say, okay, throw the challenge flag. I want AI to look at it.
Yeah, I think in recent history that the more blatant one was that pass interference that was not called against the Rams against New Orleans in the NFC Championship game, which I will tell you this, that was blatant.
Oh,
The
sure.
officials missed it because they were probably more worried about the COVID situation there in 2020 or 2021. So you know what, it's the human nature of the game that I accept. There are going to be bad calls. I mean, one of the worst football bad calls ever is, I remember the Houston Oilers. I'm going back to your childhood, back in the
Houston Oilers.
in the 80s,
That's a
in
good
the
song.
playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had them. There was a completion. The guy had 2 feet down in the end zone, in the back of the end zone. The referee called incomplete, and it was blatantly, he was in. And Houston ended up losing that game by about, I think, 2 or 3 points. The Steelers,
And they, of course, they didn't have instant replay back then.
they didn't have instant replay back then. If they did, that would have been an entirely different game. Oh, by the way, for everybody who I'm time dating, the Kansas City Chiefs of today was the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s and 80s. They got every call. They got away with everything. The referees were in their back pocket. The NFL made sure they had preferential schedules, all this, all that. And
by the way, those who may not know, the team he's referencing, Houston Oilers, is now the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
They're not the Houston Texans, so don't get those confused. Houston Texans is a brand new team. The Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee, a la Oakland Raiders moved to Vegas. Okay, Vegas. I mean, obviously they kept the name Raiders. Tennessee Titans didn't, because Houston Oilers. The Oilers had they had a copyright that you couldn't use that name. Same with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns left and went to Baltimore. They couldn't be called the Baltimore Browns because the owner at the time, Paul Brown, made stipulations saying that Cleveland will always be the Browns. No other team will. So there you go. That's a little history for you guys. I know you remember that Spence, right?
I remember too many things. Why do you think I drink my Konas?
Speaking of that, you probably want to get back there with your lovely wife and your chaotic house, and you don't want to get back to your lovely wife?
She and my daughter just went out to dinner, and my son came home from baseball practice. He's like, "Dad, what's for dinner?" I'm like, "I'm doing the show right now." So he popped back in and goes, "Dad, what's for dinner?" I'm like, "I'm with Uncle Bill." So guess what he's doing right now? He's playing Fortnite.
Well, there you go. He's just waiting for dinner, which will probably be here in about the next couple minutes when we sign off. We want to go ahead, like always, and read the list of all the people in the chat.
Yes.
Before we wrap this up.
We'll do that. We'll start. David Yonkin, thank you so much. 11 or 6, 12 and 5. I think you're right in the middle. I'm going to be aggressive and go 14 and 3. So we'll see from there. Mandung, I can't pronounce the name. Vic, thank you so much.
So quick, dude.
I've been fired since day one. Victory Lap, thank you so much. Appreciate all your comments. Thank you for being a part of the show. Darren, I know I thought you were in New England. Good to hear from you in Chicago. Darren, you didn't let us know. Cubs or White Sox?
Oh, no, he says he's a Braves fan. He says he's an Atlanta Braves fan.
I know he's a Braves fan, but if you're in Chicago and you had to choose between the two, we need to know that one. And I believe, Dad, thank you for the text messages. Appreciate that. By the way, my buddy Scott gave his definition of AI. He said advanced intoxication from watching your show.
From watching what? From watching what?
Our show. So Scott, dude, thank you very much.
Dude, that was awesome. That was awesome. I'll never look at AI the same again, man.
We'll be hitting up Del Mar very soon. Clayton, thank you so much. Appreciate you being a part of the show and your comments. Thank you for supporting us. And I believe that is it. Oh, some Mondoge. I can't pronounce that name. I have AI right now.
Yeah, you do. What do you say? Adult. What do you say?
Advanced intoxication.
Oh, that advanced. Yeah. That's so hilarious, man. So good. Guys, thanks so very, very much, each and every one of you that have been in the chat, that have contributed to the show. Those who have been watching and not contributing, it's A-okay. You got things to do. We're just glad you're watching and being part of the show, whether you're in the chat or you're not. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. That's it, guys. That's all we have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you have not, please do so. Hit the thumbs up button. We really greatly appreciate it. Tell your friends, your coworkers, your relatives, your outlaws, your in-laws, whatever they are, and just get everybody on board. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next Friday. And as we get closer, oh, wait a minute. Next Friday is Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yes, to be determined.
Yeah, to be determined if we will be here. Things may change. But, guys, hit the notification button. If you hit the notification button, you will get notified when our show goes live. Okay? So that's the best way to know when we're going live. If something comes up and we can't, we're out of town or whatever the situation may be, you will be notified of that. So please click onto that. Okay? Cost you nothing. You don't have to respond. It just hit your phone or tablet or computer, whatever. Anyways, all right, guys, until next Friday, hopefully, have a fantastic weekend, and hope every one of you had a wonderful Mother's Day Sunday last week. I know I did. I know Spence did. And I hope each and every one of you guys did as well. Till next Friday, hopefully, we will talk to you then. Till then, guys, have a fantastic weekend. Spence, tell us goodbye.
Goodbye, Spence.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down.